All right. Welcome to the next episode of the Movement Experience. I am your host, Merrick, and today we are going to get into really a foundational book that I think everyone should read, originally published in March of 1937, and it's called Think and Grow Rich. And this is the granddaddy of all self-motivational books, and it is really a foundational book that a lot of people, implement in other books as well. So I think when we're looking for a direction in life, or we're looking to maximize your life, we have to have a destination. We have to have a location, an ideal that you're living your life to get towards. So imagine you are a ship and you are loaded down with cargo, and you need to get to the harbor to deliver your cargo, but you don't know what harbor you're going to. It's going to be really difficult to achieve the destination that you're looking for, to get to where you want to go, if you don't know where you're trying to get to. So they say, a ship without a harbor, any wind will do. You don't know if the wind is blowing you in the right direction or if it's blowing against you, and you need to tack your sails and turn around. So what we need to do is we need to start at the bottom, and we need to start with goals, and we need to start with an idea of how can we define where you want to be in your life, what you want to accomplish in your life. And it's not a matter of who you are and what roles you're playing. You're a mom, you're a dad, you're an electrician, you're a plumber. Whatever the role is that you're doing is not what is your core purpose in your life. Your kids are eventually going to move out. Your kids are eventually going to be having their own families. And if you're a mom and your purpose in your life for 20 years has been raising your kids, and then all of a sudden they go to college and you've got the empty nest, well, what now? Where are you going with the next 40, 50 years of your life that you have left? So your core function, your core purpose in life can't be a task that you're doing or a part of your life. It may be the most rewarding part of your life, being a parent or a spouse or husband, wife, whatever, but that's not the core of it. So we need to find out, what is your core, what's going to make you happy, and what is your desire, right? So if we can search and we can figure out what your desire is in life, then we can break that down into actionable steps, goals that will achieve what you're looking for in life. So a lot of the times people talk about goals and goal setting and stuff like that, and they're like, oh man, I really want a red Ferrari. And it's like, well, why do you want a red Ferrari? And they got to break that down. And then you got to break it down again, and break it down again, and break it down again. And we need to get to the core, the nuance, the little tiny little fabric at the bottom, that is your soul expression, or whatever you want to call it, that says, this is what I want, and this is why I want it. And it could be interpersonal relationships. Maybe you have a desire to serve people. Maybe you want to help people achieve their better selves. Whatever that is, that's not getting a car. So we have to get past the material and into the real desire that you have to fulfill your life. So, we're trained in this materialistic world to chase the dollars, to chase the bigger car, the bigger house, keep up with the Joneses, travel like so and so. That's not what I want to get into as far as goals. Yeah, I want to travel. So do you. We all do. We all want to experience the world and all that it has to offer, for sure. Those that's more reasonable. Let's talk about that. Let's not talk about the Chanel purse or the Louis Vuitton purse or whatever it is. That those are great to have, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that in and of itself is not the goal that I want you to be searching for right now. The goal that I want you to be searching for is what is going to give you the biggest meaning in your life. What is the real core? What's going to actually fulfill you in the long term, right? So in Think and Grow Rich, one of the things that they talk about is that thoughts are things. So thoughts are things. Thoughts are they're tangible, measurable things. They exist. They're physical. If you think something, your neural pathways in your brain are going to light up. They're going to send a packet of electrical signal up your brain. It's measurable. That electric vibration will go into the universe. So it's a physical thing. So when you're thinking something, the more that you think that thing, the more of that you're going to get. So one of the principles is really training yourself for Think and Grow Rich, really training yourself to think in the way that you want to experience your life. So if you could word it, think rich and grow rich, think poor and stay poor. Like whatever you're going to train yourself into thinking, you're going to experience and receive in life. So let's discuss your thoughts and your goals. All right. So it's easy enough to write down, goals in life that you want and stuff like that. And not a lot of people do. If you do write down your goals, you're 82% more likely to achieve them. So simply the task of writing down your goals, of saying what you want, you're going to be 82% more likely to achieve it. So if you're the type of person who's getting up, getting the kids to school, going to work, coming home, dealing with your nighttime routine, and then going to bed, and then you're sitting on the couch for a couple hours, your life is passing you by. You are playing chess right now. I want you to imagine yourself playing chess. The person opposite is time. You cannot win the game. There is nothing that you can do to win the game of time. You will lose. So you have to really value your time in life. You have to really get value out of every moment of your life, because that is all that you have. Steve Jobs was dying of cancer. He was interviewed and was dying of cancer. And he said to the interviewer, if I gave you all my money, which at the time he was worth $8 billion, be way, way more now with how far Apple has come. But at the time he was worth $8 billion personal dollars. And he said, if I gave you all of my money and you traded places with me, you wouldn't do it, because I'll be dead in a few weeks. And he was. So $8 billion is not worth a few weeks. So think about that in the grand scheme of things. We have to work, we have to go to our jobs, and we have to provide for our families and stuff like that. But you really need to get a hold of yourself and figure out your purpose in life, because no one will do it for you. There is no knight in shining armor coming to pick you up and take you to your purpose. You must pick yourself up, get on that horse, and ride to your purpose, because no one else is coming for you. So you have to be your own knight in shining armor. And I want to break down and give you the tools that you can use to figuring this out for yourself. I can't do it for you. Only you can do it for you, and you can only do it with the proper information, and I'll do my best to give it to you. Think and Grow Rich is a foundational book in that you have to have the understanding that your thoughts matter. Your desire matters, okay? So what you desire is what you're going to get. So if you have a tiny little dream, imagine that's like a fire, and you've got this tiny little dream. It's not going to keep you warm, and the elements are going to be able to blow it out. A blizzard comes in, boom, puts your fire out. You have to have a stoked dream. You have to constantly be stoking that dream, that desire. It has to be so strong inside of you, whatever that desire is, that nothing will stop you from getting it. That there is no point of return for you. You have completely committed to that goal. That is the only way that you're going to be able to accomplish it. So there's a story of a general who sailed to a distant land with his troops, with his army, and they were there to conquer that kingdom. When they got there, they realized that they were greatly outnumbered, and the force was not told to the general the right size. So he was there, and now they're greatly outnumbered. The men are starting to murmur. There's talk of getting back in the ships and sailing away. And what does the general do? He unloads everything, all the people, everything off the ships, and he burns the ships. And he says, "Men, turn, look, our ships are aflame. There is no escape. If we do not fight and win, we will all die." And guess what? They fought and they won, and they conquered that land. You must be that general, and you must burn the ship. You must burn the ship of whatever exit plan or parachute that you've set up in your mind that you're safe enough. And you have to commit yourself to whatever goal and dream that you have for your fulfillment is. And it's all different for different people. And I can't say that one's going to be more important than the other or one's better than the other. They're all different. So whatever your goal that we come to the end of this and you discover of yourself, whatever that is, that's that's your inner self, your childhood self talking to you saying, this is what I want. This is what's going to fulfill me. And you're never going to be happy until you're pursuing that. You can be rich and be unhappy. You can be poor and be unhappy. Money is not the equivalent of happiness. But if you're pursuing your deepest core desire and you're fulfilling yourself and you're in the pursuit of fulfilling yourself, that is a life well spent. And you will be happy on your deathbed having spent your life in that way. And that's what this is about. And that's what this podcast is about. And that's what this journey is about that we're on together. It's about living a life that you're going to be proud of when you lay it down. Not a life of regret, not a life of compromise where you went to work every day, great. But did you really squeeze life out of the rag that life is? Did you get all that juice out? Did you really enjoy it? Did you get down on the carpet with your kids and play with them and live in that moment? Did you really nurture friendships for the duration of your life? Did you grow as a person? Did you help those less fortunate than you? Did you reach down and pull them up? Did you make the world a better place? Did you make yourself a better person? Did you pour sunshine and happiness onto people, metaphorically speaking? Like, you're going to be so much better off in life if you live with a purpose, and you're not going to have the desire needed to go through the hardships that will undoubtedly come unless you really know what that core desire is for yourself, and then that desire, your core belief of what you want, the goal is there, and then the desire will grow and grow and grow, and then you'll be more motivated. And again, it can be helping people. It could be working in a soup kitchen. It's irrelevant what the actual goal of what you want is. A lot of the times, people want to make money so they can be free. They can spend time with their loved ones. They can travel. They can do all those things. It's a noble goal. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be in a life of service, there's nothing wrong with that. So when we go through the Think and Grow Rich book, the first chapter, there's the introduction, and then we talk about, thoughts are physical, thoughts are things. We'll go into auto-suggestion as well, which is, you're going to get an idea of what your goal is. You're going to write it down. If it's, let's say your goal is something simple, so we can discuss it. But let's say it's, I want to make $1 million a year. The reason why I want to make $1 million a year is I want to provide, a comfortable life of security for my family. I want to spend time with them, help them grow, et cetera, et cetera. And you've got this really noble goal that earning this amount of money, it's going to be able to, accomplish this type of a lifestyle for you, and that's your goal. So we're going to write that down, and then you would write that down into a daily mantra that you could read in the morning and night, and then you're going to read that every morning and night. Now, you might be thinking, I'm never going to do this. That is the critic that's talking. The critic is the person who told you when you were a child that you couldn't sing, that you couldn't dance, or you couldn't draw. Okay, there's books like The Artist's Way, which we'll get into, which talks about this kind of thing. But there people have clipped your wings, no fault of their own. Their wings were clipped, and they thought they were doing you a favor. But people have clipped your wings. Your friends will do it to you. People want to keep you in their tribe. They do not want you to leave them. They do not want you to go and evolve and go into the next evolution of life, because then they themselves have to now think and reflect whether they need to change. It could be your spouse, could be coworkers. So when you do something and it makes you uncomfortable, or there is a hesitation, or like, I don't want to look like an idiot, or, oh man, I don't want people to judge me, you got to break that down. Why do you care? Why do you care what other people think? And you need to understand that. So you might have a trauma response of belonging that you're operating on, and you need to understand that, because that's going to hold you back from achieving your goal, your life goal, your desire, your goal. So if you figure out what your life goal is, we need to put steps in place for you to get closer to that life goal. So let's say you have that $1 million goal, and you start reading out your mantra morning and night. You're going to put that thought, that physical thought, constantly out into the universe. And now you're going to start looking for opportunities You're going to look for, things are going to come to you, ideas are going to come to you that start to open up, and then you're going to start to grow, and then you're going to get to the next level as far as your thinking goes, and then the actual physical returns will come. So don't let the thought of weirdness stop you from being fulfilled and living a really good life. Because when you're 100 and you're lying on your deathbed, you're not going to care what other people think. You just won't. You won't have time for that anymore. Remember, you're in that chess game right now. There is no guaranteed 100 years of your life. Unfortunately, you could go tomorrow. We don't know. So you're in that chess game right now. Your life is as real as you only have what you have in front of you, and that's it. So enjoy it, but in that life, level up, process up, get yourself to the next level of growth, because that's really where you're going to get the fulfillment out. Who cares what the naysayers say? It's irrelevant. They're not going to serve you. They're not going to pay your rent, or your mortgage when you're behind. Then it doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't matter. So let's get back into this. So we're going to figure out what your life goal is. So in order to do this is going to be your homework for the day. So I want you to put the kids to bed, dim the lights, light a candle. I want you to set the mood, and I want you to dedicate, 15 to 20 minutes uninterrupted. Turn your phone off, play a little bit light background jazz if you want, whatever. And I want you to sit down at the table. I want you to put a fresh pad of paper out, and I want you to get a pen. And I want you to write for 2 minutes, what are my life goals? And for 2 minutes, you're going to write. You're not going to think about what you're going to write. You're not going to go back and correct yourself. You're just going to write. It could be simple as, I want to bake more bread. I want to travel to Europe. I want to make so much money that I don't need to work ever again. I want to leave my job. Whatever it is, you're going to keep writing it out. And then I want you to review that for 2 minutes after you've done it, and add things as they come to you. And, I said this, but what I mean is this. That's okay. I want you to keep doing that. And I want you to get a really nice page of what your goals are, like what your life goals are. And then I want you to turn that page over, and I want you to do another page. And for 2 minutes, you're going to write, how do I want to spend the next 5 years of my life? How do I want to spend the next 5 years of my life? And you're going to write for 2 minutes. And you're going to write what you're going to do for the next 5 years of your life. How do you want to spend it? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And get all the emotions going and get it flowing. And then you're going to review that for 2 minutes. So we're only at 4 minutes so far. Not such a hard commitment. And then the last question that I want you to do, I want you to turn it over, and I want you to do the last question. And I want you to ask this question. If I knew I was going to die in 6 months, how would I want to live my life until then? Now, I want you to imagine that your family will continue, everything will be fine, but you will just poof, and you'll just disappear. And your family will not be burdened by your absence, financially, everything. Let's not worry about that. I want you to talk about what you would do if you had 6 months left of your life. Remember, Steve Jobs in that interview said, trade places with me for $8 billion. You wouldn't do it. You have 6 months left. What are you going to do with those 6 months? How are you going to treat people? How are you going to live your life? Are you still going to go to that job? What are you going to do? So these three things, we need to do these three questions. These are going to start to pull out from you your actual life goals, your actual core goals, right? We've got high goals and we've got low goals. Your low goals are going to trickle up into the big goals. But if your big goal is to serve people, any of the small goals, I want a BMW, is not going to motivate you, because it's not your supreme goal. Your top goal is to serve people. So having a BMW doesn't serve that top goal. Maybe you're a car enthusiast and you love cars and you love connecting with people, and having a BMW or Ferrari or whatever is your way of being connected to people with like interest. That's going to motivate you. but you have to understand what that core, that foundation is first before you can really break down into the nuances of the type of goals that you want on the daily basis. So you need to do this what are my life goals sheet exercise like probably 3 times in a month. So you need to do it, let's do it once a week for the rest of the month. And you need to do it, and it's going to get a little bit more concise and a little bit less scatterbrained as you go through it. And we just want to kind of condense it and then filter out whatever your life goal is. So that's where we want to start. So we're going to go through Think and Grow Rich, and we're going to go through the book as we go through it. But I don't want to do a podcast where my everyone wants $1 million. Sure, we all wouldn't say no to $1 million, but like sometimes there are people that are super happy living their 9-to-5 job that they love. They come home, and whatever, and to them that's just absolute biscuits and gravy, and they love it. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all completely different people. We have different passions, different desires, different wants. So I don't want to be trying to tell you what my goals are and then like motivating you to do what I believe in. I just want you to find what yours is and then motivate yourself to achieve that goal for yourself. Because, if you don't have that burning desire that's tied with your core belief, you'll never really achieve it. So there are 2 things that are happening in your brain. You've got your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. If you haven't heard this, there's tons of research into this kind of stuff, and I'm sure you've heard it. But your subconscious mind is operating, at 2 million bits of information a second, and your conscious mind's processing like 164 bits of information a second. Like it's so much more information getting processed into your subconscious mind. So we have to make sure that your subconscious mind and your conscious mind are lined up in order for you to achieve your goals. And there are things that can come up that will stop you from achieving those goals, like trauma or bad habit patterns that were put in place from parents or, uncles or whatever that, all millionaires are filthy thieves. Well, you've got that somewhere in your brain, then that's going to stop you from being successful, monetarily, because you think that, well, I'm not a thief, I can't be rich then. So first of all, we have to figure out what your goals are. Then we have to figure out if you're running on any programs that are stopping you from achieving your goals. So we'll have to get into, trauma release therapy and different things down the road, but we need to start by finding out what your core belief, core goals will be. So core belief, core goals. So that's where we need to start. We need to start by doing this exercise and pulling out those core beliefs. And then we can go into desire, and then we can go into written goals, and then reading those goals into your morning routine and before you go to bed. There's so many ways that we can start leveling this up and really saturating the mind with what you really want out of life. If you've lived a life where you've adapted to choices that were made for you, or and you're finding yourself in a place where you're feeling stuck, this is what this is for you. This is for you. This is for you to really go back to the beginning and figure out where, what makes you tick. What is my core? And then, you might be, let's say you're a dad and you're, providing for a family of 4, you got 2 kids and a wife, and you got to work. And for sure you do. And I get it, but you still can go back and figure this out. Maybe you start a job on the side. Maybe you start a side business of, woodworking that you're really passionate about. Maybe you're, maybe you have an artistic expression that needs to be expressed, and you start making really artistic pottery, or, there's a million things that you can do to express yourself artistically, or get to the core, your core without, you got to provide for your family, no question. But maybe you start a side business that you love, and that starts supplementing your income and then replacing your income. Maybe you start your own business. I'm not saying that everyone has to go out and give guitar lessons. Like, I'm not saying pursue your passions at the cost of your life. What I am saying is, you get really good at something, you can often become very passionate at it, and because you're making a lot of money at it, it's very easy to be passionate about something. So, but that still doesn't fulfill that core belief that you need to figure out. So let's start there. Let's break that down. Let's go through these questions. What are my life goals? how do I want to spend the next 5 years? And if I knew I was going to die in 6 months, how would I live my life now? Let's go through those questions. Pen and paper. I set it up. You know what to do. And we're going to do that at least 3 times this month. And each time it's going to get a little bit less convoluted. It's going to get a little more clear. I want you to go back and look at them, look for common themes. You know, it might be spending time with loved ones. Okay, I want to spend more time. So maybe a goal that you need to look for is something that you can do to make a living that you are free to spend more time with your family. Maybe you don't want to be confined to an office. Maybe you want to do something remotely where you can provide for your family remotely, maybe work evenings and weekends when they're sleeping, and you're going to spend more time with your kids. Maybe that's what your goal is, and you're going to get that out of doing this exercise. You're going to understand what it is. Maybe you want to make more money, and you want the security of a pension. So maybe you're going to go into the medical field and you're going to get that security of a pension. You're going to work your 25, 30 years and you're going to retire, and you're going to do all the cruise deals that you can do for the rest of your life. Great. There's nothing wrong with that. That's fantastic. Maybe you want to relate to animals better. You want to help animals, adopt animals, help horses, help injured people. There's so many things that you can do to really get a fulfillment out of life. You don't have to just, I want to make $1 million and I want to buy a Ferrari and I want to live in a mansion by the ocean and I want everyone to think I'm super cool. And it's like, well, why do you want all those things? Break that down. I want a Ferrari. Why do I want a Ferrari? I want a Ferrari because I am a car enthusiast. I always love Ferraris, and Ferraris are the epitome of a pure sports car. Okay, why does that matter to you? Blah, blah, blah. And then you have to keep breaking it down. Break that goal down into really understanding yourself. And then you can really accomplish anything that you want because you know what motivates you and you know what direction you want to go because your ship now has a harbor that it's heading to. And you can use the stars to guide you there. Just like I'm explaining to you, the stars are your word tracks that you're going to lay out for yourself. And you're going to be able to say no to things because you know exactly what you want. Someone's like, hey, you want to come work for this company? Nope. Because it's not going to provide the time that I want and the freedom that I want in order to do what I want and get fulfilled the way I want. So no, thank you. The more that you can say no to, the more you really know where you want to go, what you want out of life. So that's the podcast for today. You have homework. I want you to do your homework. And we're going to go back. Another piece of homework is you're going to sign up for Audible. If you haven't signed up for Audible, you don't have Audible, you need to start reading. The man who does not read has little advantage over the man who cannot read. You need to read. You need to get books into your brain, and you're not going to get better in life. You're not going to get ahead in life if you're consuming nothing but Netflix. You need to read. You need to get to the next level, get your brain working, open up the thought processes. You will not be successful in life unless you're open-minded. You have to let the critic die and open up yourself to knowledge, and that knowledge is going to connect dots. That's going to open up business opportunities. It's going to make you see opportunities that you never saw before. So your homework number 2 is Audible. And we need to get Think and Grow Rich, and we need to start reading Think and Grow Rich. Let's get into the first 4 chapters, and then we'll kind of cycle back to that. But Think and Grow Rich, published in 1937. It's the absolute granddaddy of all books, written by Napoleon Hill. And, this guy researched the richest people in the world for 20 years and wrote this book. So there's a lot of really good information in it. It's a little cheesy at times because it was written in 1937. So they're talking about, phonographs and stuff like that as new technology, but it's as relevant today with social media and everything else. So those are your 2 pieces of homework. And then we're going to cycle back and we're going to probably look at this book maybe later in the month and finish off this little piece. But we're going to get into, your psychology, the artist's way, and there's a few other things that I want to get into right away. This is the baseline to kind of drive into really a happy, fulfilling life for you. So we need to start with, what do you want? What is your core beliefs? And thoughts are things, and we need to think in a way that's going to get you what you want out of life. So that's kind of the whole crux of this is, think and grow rich, think rich thoughts, grow rich. And that's the plan. So thanks for your time.